how's the health of the team right now as y'all are about to start up practice?
Real good. Really the only issue we have right now is with Gabe Frazier, who, had a little arm trouble in the fall and still working through that. But other than that, so far, everybody's in good shape.
I want to ask specifically about Aiden Jimenez, your transfer from Oregon State. Kind of how is he progressing in his recovery, and what kind of role do you envision for him on this year's staff?
Well, he's doing great so far. Incredibly hard worker, very strong, big kid. If we can get him back to where he was when he was at Oregon State, we'll have a jewel, so to speak. His role right now would be uh, I guess it would be wide open. He was a starter there. He could be probably a middle reliever for us to start out just to see what he can do. But he was someone that we were hoping that we could get him maybe middle of the season. But it looks like he might be ready more towards the beginning of the season to help us. He's way ahead of schedule for the surgery he had.
And one more before I turn it back. Speaking of roles, kind of where do you stand on like terms of like setting your starting rotation? How many spots maybe are solidified? How many are open? Kind of where does that stand?
I mean, we're going to let them prove it to us a little more. We saw a lot of good things in the fall and then off season. I think just because we've been around Gage Gackle so much, had him here, we feel like that he will definitely be a starter. With Root, looks like a starter. Gage Wood, Bottle Cheese, those are possibilities. And there's some other guys in there now. But really, the first weekend we play 4 games, which I think's a good thing for this team, and then head down to Texas. And you look at our schedule, there's not a lot of games where you can go, okay, we're going to experiment with that freshman out there. Although in some cases with freshmen, it's not an experiment. They're pretty darn good. So, yeah, I mean, kind of tiptoeing around the question, but I mentioned 4 guys at the top, and they'll battle for those jobs to start out.
Evan, Big Trail, whoever it is.
Yeah, Coach, curious on kind of your offensive side of things rather than pitching. Last year, it seemed like you were searching a lot of the season to get production from the outfield. Where do you feel that some of your transfer guys who you've brought in, like a guy like Pepe or Justin Thomas, where do you feel they are in the outfield as well as, getting Diggs back?
Yeah, I really the guys that really were impressive in the fall in the outfield was Charles Davalin. I mean, he had an incredible fall, and he got big and strong in the weight room. A lot of personality, great attitude, and then Logan Maxwell put on about, I don't know, 12, 15 pounds since he's been here, getting strong and hitting for a lot more power, but he still is just a really good hitter. You watch his batting practice, he squares up almost everything that comes his way. And so there's 2 right there. And, we'll see how it goes with the other spot. I mean, Pepe was injured. We've got him working a little bit at first base. He was an infielder coming out of high school, DH, first base, and then Kendall. You look at what Kendall's done in the past, and he played 50 some games last year with major tears. He's swinging the bat. He's going to hit live pitching tomorrow. And when I say live pitching, against not just batting practice, we're talking live pitching. So we'll see how that goes. But he's a little bit behind, but he'll get there. And so there's some good options. And then you mentioned Justin Thomas, who's outstanding defender, really good base runner, good arm, and he brings some power to the lineup too. But he can also steal bases, as most of these guys can. So there's going to be a battle there, and we'll be able to match up a little bit, and maybe go game to game early, and then figure out and try to get a starting lineup, hopefully by conference.
Yeah, and Coach kind of mentioned Davalin a little bit, and I'm curious, maybe personality-wise, the rest of the team, and you haven't had the first practice yet, but I'm sure you've been around the guys a lot. Where do you see kind of some differences in personality this year versus some previous years?
A lot different personality than last year's team. This year's team just seems really confident and a little more vocal. So far, so good. We feel like they get along real well. That's the feedback I've gotten from returners, and then the new guys just seem to really like it here and like what's going on. And I think they're excited about the schedule we've lined up, which is ridiculously tough, but it'll be fun.
Last question, then I'll turn it over as well. You just mentioned the schedule right there. You kind of see with SEC basketball season how deep the league is. Baseball, no different. How do you expect, the depth of the schedule this year when you're facing, I think it's 6, 7 teams in that top 25, top 30?
Yeah, we figured it out the other day. I think of our 30 conference games, 27 of those games are ranked right now. So you never know how it's going to turn out or who's going to do what down the road. But if you look at some teams that maybe lost a lot of players that were really good last year, we don't play them this year. They're not on our schedule, some of them. And then we're playing some older teams, some really good teams. Got some tough road games, at LSU, at Florida. I mean, just to name a few. Yeah, it's we play Washington State, so I'm gonna worry about that right now and just try to get better.
Thanks,
Jackson.
Coach.
Jackson.
Hey Dave, hope you're doing good. With Gabe this offseason, other than transitioning from, reliever to starter, what's kind of been the biggest focus for him in overall improvement?
Yeah, just I think he knows he's there. He's a guy. He's just confident. Stuff's always been good. Location seems to be better than ever. And the interesting thing about this staff, and you guys are asking about individual players, and I love talking about the players after they've been here a while and we've seen a lot, but trying to stay away from it a little bit because we still have a lot we have to prove. But we don't have Smith this year, and that's a once every now and then type of guy that you get to be around, that talent and what he did for our team. I mean, you take him off of our team last year, we were probably pretty average because we were a really good fielding team and we didn't hit real well and we weren't very dynamic as far as some other things, but we probably overachieved. But we don't have that guy. But what we have is we have a staff and we have a lot of good pitchers that work hard, and I think they just make each other better.
Has anything changed for you, like in whether it was the fall or in the buildup, like with maybe a staff that has some more undecided roles than in years past, like in those conversations with players and just kind of a broad picture? I mean, how does this year maybe feel different with some of those roles still open as we're here in the middle of January?
Well, I think the competition just continues to get better, and we get closer to the season, and guys just really want to get on the mound. I just see them pushing each other. But at the same time, I see a lot of camaraderie. Guys are pulling for each other. Like I said, this team's more verbal. It was fun watching their strength and conditioning workouts, especially towards the end of, the semester when there was some competition, and we really started putting the position players and the pitchers together working out because a lot of times they're separated and it separates your team. Then you got to try to get it together when you get here in January. We tried to work on that the second half of fall, and I think it really, really helped us. I think it advanced us a little bit. You see all that's going on all over the country. You got teams that are super talented in other sports. It's semi-professional now, call it what it is. And so I feel like our job as coaches is to find a way to develop these guys, physically, but mentally, we've got to find a way to get them to bond and care about each other and care about the University of Arkansas and the fans and not just in and out of here. And, I don't feel that way with this team as far as I feel this team they're on a mission. I mean, there's been some things go down the last couple of years at the end of the season that have been hard to swallow. And honestly, behind closed doors, the coaches, we knew that we maybe weren't quite as good as we were ranked or whatever, but we were just finding ways to win. And credit to the players for that. This team wants to make sure that we get to the end.
You mentioned Kendall taking live BP. Does that mean like right now, as this day, kind of fully healthy and just kind of has to get back into a rhythm, or is there still maybe a little bit of time for him, to a official return to health?
Yeah, well, he's 100% cleared to do everything now. Now it's all about timing at the plate. It's about getting that bat speed back that he's had in the past, and seeing live pitching, and just feeling confident. And I think he has a great personality. He's easy to be around, easy to talk to, and players gravitate to him. So now it's not about him feeling part of the team, because he's going to be a big part of our team. It's just a matter of how soon. We know what he can do when he's full go. He's stronger than ever, even with the shoulder injury. He's had a chance to work on his lower half, and he's a full grown man now. It's time to go, and I think he's excited about being out there.
Thanks, Dave.
Ellis, go ahead.
Yeah, Coach, just how encouraged are you by the progress that Helfrich and Souza in particular have made this offseason? Do you feel like they're kind of on track for what you viewed for those guys when they were coming out of high school as talented guys?
I've said this for many, many years, and I've coached at Division II level, junior college level, mid majors, Division I, and what I've seen over the years, the biggest jump that players make is between their freshman and sophomore year. And it's not always that way, but I'm just going to say the majority of them, they come in, they're talented, they're young, they feel their way through their freshman year. Then they get to the point mentally that's like, man, I want to play. I don't like not playing. I want to be a guy. And they go out, they get summer ball, and they come in the fall, and they're confident. You can really tell a difference in them physically. They start to move on from the high school senior young man into growing into a man, and they just get stronger, and they're mentally better. And then now the talent starts to kick in, and I think that's what I've seen with those guys. Souza, he's physical. He's got all the tools. He can hit him as far as anybody. He can run as fast as anybody. He can throw with anybody. He's what you're looking for. He's the type of guy athletically. If he wasn't playing baseball, I could see him being a tight end, or he's athletic enough to be a wide receiver at the Division I level. This is an athletic kid, and Helfrich is super strong. He's got power. He's a good leader, and he's an outstanding receiver, and he was the best receiver on the team last year, but he was really young, and the bat never kicked in all the way, but we DH'd him because of what we saw and what we knew. And we were trying to get ready for the future as well. And those guys going out and playing summer ball really helped. In Helfrich's case, the kid was an all-star in the Cape Cod League after not playing much as a freshman. So we knew it was there. Both of those kids, we didn't know if they'd make it to college. And both of them didn't play much as freshmen, but it just goes to show if you can be patient a little bit. Now they're penciled in starters on a team that is really talented.
Last year with Christian Fauch, he threw 22 innings and 20 outings. So it seems like there was like a very clear plan of how to use him, how to get the most out of him. And he had an ERA under 1. Is that kind of the basis for how you want to use some of these younger power arms like a Wiggins or like Hunter Dietz as a redshirt freshman? Did you maybe learn something with how you use Fauch and maybe to get the most out of some of these younger power arms?
I think to start, that would be the way we're looking at it, so to speak. And, in Hunter Dietz's case, this is a guy that his freshman fall here he might have been, our best guy. And Smith didn't pitch a whole lot that last fall, but, we didn't hit him at all. And then you could see it going downhill, realize he had the injury that he had in high school, and then tried to rehab it, as you guys know. And then because they didn't want to do anything. And then, finally in the spring didn't go right. And if he can get back to where he was walking in the door here as a true freshman in the fall of 23, he'll be one of our best pitchers. Now he's not there yet, but he's getting there. And so one inning would be great for us, leverage inning, big inning, maybe even just a little bit getting out certain type of hitters, but I don't think it really matters with him. He gets both sides of the plate out. And, a guy like Wiggins, who is a strike thrower for a big guy, unless something changes, he throws it over the plate and it's filthy. And he just the other things, the little things, holding runners and being quick to the plate, which he's fairly quick. Just that guys can't take advantage of little things, when there's a 1-run game late in the game. The stuff is there, and I mean he can blow you up pretty good. And he's a little older. He will actually be draft eligible after his sophomore year if nothing changes with the draft dates. But we think that he's going to help us a lot, and this year probably out of the pen, probably a starter in the future. And hey, who's to say? He get built up, he's pitching good. We'll do what we have to do.
Christina, go ahead.
Yeah, Coach, I wanted to ask you about a couple of specific positions. Just how's the competition at first base shaping up? And then what are you thinking at designated hitter?
Did you say first base?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's a tryout camp over there right now. If you come to our practices, it's almost comical. I feel like I'm at a summer tryout camp. We got 5 guys working out over there that also play other positions. I could throw a couple more over there. We want to get a hitter over there, but honestly, you've got to be able to field and catch pickoffs and know the bunt coverages. And, you can't just stick somebody up first base because he's a good hitter. I mean, that position touches the ball as, second behind the catcher and the pitcher, for the most part. So they got to play defense. And so I guess to not answer your question, we're not sure yet, honestly. At the DH spot, I mean, there's some good ones there that, if Pepe's not starting, he could DH. Kahia Loya can DH, got superpower. I mean, all the technology that we have, he hits the ball harder than anybody we have very consistently, every swing. And we're talking batting practice and that type of stuff. And, you could go left-handed over there as well. And we've got some of those guys. So, again, a little deeper offensive, roster for me to kind of select hitters or maybe even pinch hit or platoon until we get it figured out. And, I always tell the players this, I may write the lineup, but you guys make it. And we try to figure out how to put you in the right order and just go prove it to us. Show us what we need to do.
And then I know Vahiva had a really big summer on the Cape and changed some stuff with his stance and his swing. Just what are your expectations for him now in his second year, now that he's got that year of experience behind him?
Well, he had some days for us last year where we just kind of went, wow, hitting balls in the opposite field into the building on the line. And it's hard to do that. Pulling balls 470 feet. And defensively had an incredible year for us. He played every inning of every game, basically because we didn't have another shortstop that was a true shortstop due to, the draft taking 3 high school freshmen for about $9 million, I think, between those 3 high school, oh gosh, seniors that we thought were going to come. We thought we'd get one of them, and he handled it. And he played through some pain that really nobody knew about, or, probably was tired, and we just couldn't really give him a break. And defensively, he's even better. You never know how the numbers are going to go, fielding percentage, but he is better. And on the offensive side, he's just really grown up. He's not trying to hit the ball 450 feet every swing, laying off a lot more pitches. And some of that is due to the stance and dropping the hands and closing it up, and just really focusing on going through the middle. When you're a good hitter, you just see what you see and you let it go, and you pull balls, you go the other way. And I think he's going to have a great year. I don't feel like he's going to feel like, I think he drove in maybe 60, 70 runs last year. He's going to have every opportunity to do that again and more with the people they're going to have hitting around him and in front of him. And it'll take a little pressure off of him because we have a better offensive team. I mean, I know we do. And you never know when it's going to come out. I hope it's from day one, but I think he's going to have a great year.
Dudley, go ahead.
I've always loved third base, including naming my son after Brooks Robinson, but it looks like you've got one that could be a potential superstar there.
Yeah, Iredale is, I call him the silent assassin. He doesn't say a whole lot, but he'll get after you in the game. And, you guys might have been out to a few of our fall scrimmages, but then when we played outside competition, he got his hits that Friday night, 4 or 5 of them, but he didn't kill the ball. But we've seen him hit balls off the scoreboard, opposite field, pull balls out of the park. Uh, he's a big guy that can run. He can steal base, kind of sneaky there. And I think the players love him because, like I said, he doesn't say a whole lot, smiling all the time. And yeah, he's got a chance to be really good. Now, the question always is, and probably for the scouts and everybody else is, okay, you're going from junior college to Division I. But he did a good job in the fall. It's not like we saw a guy that couldn't hit a slider or couldn't recognize a changeup. He's got some awareness to him, and he's coachable. And yeah, we feel like that he could have a really big year for us. And again, he's on a team where he doesn't have to do it all for us. He can just be one of the guys.
Also, you had to get that roster down, obviously, to what you needed. Talk to me a little bit about what that was like, and do you feel good about what you have left here on campus?
Yeah, it's always tough. The issue is, and your numbers get up there a little bit, and we had probably about the average in the SEC talking to some of the other coaches that had in the 50s, some of them upper 40s, 50, 52, 55 players in the fall. You sign a lot of kids, then you lose kids. And then there's some that you get in the portal to cover yourself thinking you're not going to get them anyway. They're going to get drafted or they're going to sign a free agent contract. Fortunately, we kept some guys, and then we kept some guys, like Iredale. We didn't think he's going to make it to school. He's top players in NJCAA, junior college level, Division I. And, he decided he didn't get offered enough money or asked for too much money. And now he's going to come prove it here. But we had a lot of those go our way this year. And it's interesting. So, yeah, getting it down is tough because you got some kids in your program that you'd like to have in there, mostly on the pitcher side that you could redshirt. But we have a deep staff, and they weren't going to get to pitch, and and there were some good conversations, but some guys knew that they had a good fall. Say a kid was in his second year here, we redshirted the year before, or even some true freshmen that come in and didn't do real well. There's always kids that have a little issues, arm problem, this or that. And, some kids went out to junior college, and we even had a couple of kids go to some Division II schools out of here. So, or NAI type schools. So good for them. They just want to play baseball. And those kids were going to be juniors or maybe a senior. And I think bottom line, if the kid's not going to get to play here, we don't see with the new rules coming in next year with the smaller roster, we had to take that into consideration. How are they going to make it? If they're not going to make it this year, they're going to make it next year. And then you got kids coming in. There's a lot of juggling there. But I just want the kids to play ball and feel good about it. When they're done playing, they feel like that, they gave it their best shot.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Phil, go ahead.
Morning, Dave. When you were describing your outfielders, you said that you think like all of them can probably steal a base. And I remember, going into the offseason, you spoke in terms of player procurement and your batters as trying to get faster, trying to be more athletic. Do you feel like this is one of your faster teams in terms of position players in the last few years?
Oh yeah, it's a lot quicker than the past. Even the guys that when you think about our catcher, he can steal a base. He's a really good runner, and you could have a first baseman that can run a little bit, and all of our infielders run good, outfielders run pretty good, and if you're not paying attention or you're too slow to the plate, we'll be able to take advantage of it without worrying about running ourselves out of an inning. Now we're going to get thrown out, but we're also, going to go ahead and move around the bases a little more than we have in the past. And we'll see how it all evolves. But the thing is, you have to work on it. And we did. We work on it a lot. And I think we should be a good base running team just because of the effort that we're putting in and the buy-in from the players. And they want to do a good job running the base. They want to be able to steal a base when they can. And we needed a more well-rounded offense that can threaten you in different ways. And we're doing that through bunting for hits. And the wind's not going to blow out at 20 miles an hour and every day. And you have to be able to do what you do when you're facing a pitcher that's pretty stingy. He's hard to hit. When you get somebody on, you got to find a way to get them in and win some of those low scoring games.
In terms of talking of players jump from a first year to a second year, freshman year to a sophomore year, um, a lot of times we're talking about the physical aspects of it. You're talking about the mental aspects of it as well. But if I think of Ryder Helfrich and, just how well he caught for the most part last year and called a game as a freshman, um, you got a great looking pitching staff, but how much of that success also isn't necessarily dependent upon, but can, grow because Ryder's going to be a catcher for a second year in college now.
Yeah, that's the mental part of development is huge. And you're talking about the catcher position, the way our philosophy here, and I'll do a little recruiting while I'm talking. We let our catchers call the game, and we're going to help them, and they can look at us, and we can suggest something. But for the most part, when they get here and they walk in the door, not only are they catching guys and learning them, they're in a kind of a classroom setting in our building with our catching coach and our pitching coach, and they're discussing things and meetings all the time, and we're getting them ready to be able to call pitches. We watch them in the fall, we let them call pitches, and if we're thinking a certain pitch in a scrimmage and they call another one and it gets hit pretty good or whatever, we're not going to get on them about it. But when the inning's over, we're going to say, why did you call that pitch? Tell us what your thought process was there. And then we would say, okay, this is what we were thinking and this is why. And we're just trying to help them and develop them and get them ready for the next step in professional baseball, because there's nobody calling pitches for them in the minor leagues or in the big leagues. And we're probably one of the few schools at this level that trust our catchers that much. And we have a really good track record with our catchers, and our catchers getting better here. And it started probably all the way with Brady Toops and Brian Walker and James McCann, and I could go on and on and on. And Helfrich's no different, and he may be more talented catching wise at this young age than any of them.
Thanks, Dave.
Yep.
Kevin, go ahead.
Thanks. Good morning, Coach. A couple of things. Is this probably the most balanced pitching staff as far as lefties and righties? You've brought in a couple of good left-handed starters, guys from last year, Fisher, Dietz, really balanced righty-lefty than you've had in the past.
Yeah, and then they bring in freshman Gibbler, and there's a couple others that can help us. Fisher's looks like he's going to help us if he stays healthy. He's way ahead of schedule through the other day, and he looked great. Yeah, I mean, it was obviously, going into the off season, it was like we've got to get a couple lefties, or because we didn't know if Gibbler would make it to school. He turned down money. There was a lot of pro teams that loved him, and maybe didn't have his greatest high school senior year, or when they saw him, who knows? It might have been cold up there in Kansas City, whatever. But bottom line, we got him. He's really good, and we knew that we needed to level this thing out a little bit. And yeah, I mean, the thing about the transfer portal and this situation that we're in, it gives us an opportunity to fill in because of all the draft issues we've had, or we're losing these guys, or injuries. Yeah, you become a GM a little bit more, and it is a short window to get it done. And honestly, when Vital Cheese committed to us, we'd already had Zach Root in as well on a visit. We thought, well, we won't get Root now because he could have gone anywhere. I mean, there's no way we're getting him. He's going to see it, but he didn't care. He loved it here. He loved what he heard. He loved, the pitch, the way we handle our pitchers, and Coach Hobbs, the way he coaches, and he could see himself getting better here on a good team, playing the SEC. And yeah, there was a lot of SEC teams that wanted him, like everyone. But I appreciate him coming here, because we had already gotten that big name lefty out of the portal, so to speak, and then getting Gibbler to come in, and we're going, okay, we get Dietz back, we get Fisher back, we're going to have some lefties. I mean, if the team is struggling against lefties, then we're going to we're going to shoot them at them and see what they can do. So it's a great option to have. And yeah, to answer your question, one of the most balanced pitching staff, if not the most balanced that I've ever had. And that's a good thing.
Second thing was you did a lot of situational hitting, situational pitching in the fall during your scrimmages. Is that the plan for the preseason?
Yeah, and this team has power, and we can hit it over your head, but we also have really worked on other things. Maybe gone back to more of my early years of the way we did things because we didn't have as much power. But I mean, Coach Thompson and I, Coach Warnes, we sat down after the season and we talked about a lot of things, and we're all on the same page. And you think about our team since Nate got here, they've been powerful and they've been good. And the last couple of years were not so good. And so we knew we had to make some adjustments, and a lot of it has to do with the personnel you have, and the personnel we have now fits more what we want to do here day in and day out. But you still, if you want to win in the SEC, you've got to be able to hit the ball over the fence. And what I mean by that is it's hard to score sometimes with the pitching that we face. So if you get a walk and you can hit a home run off a Friday night starter, that's a good thing, because a lot of these guys are pitching in the big leagues, and they're going to be big league all-stars coming out of this league and Power 5 teams or anywhere. And you've got to be able to score quick, or when a mistake's made. It's hard to get 3 hits in an inning, at this level, and especially in league play. The big innings come with a single and a walk or an error, and then somebody pops one in the gap or out of the park. That's how you separate yourself. But we wanted to make sure that we could do a little bit of everything, and hopefully that happens.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah.
Coming back around, Hutch.
I'm good. I won't keep you any longer, Coach.
Evan, you got anything?
Yeah, Coach. Any idea on captains yet, or is that still TBD?
Well, I feel like we have a lot of captains. I don't even know if we'll have captains. I'll let you know how that goes later.
BetOnline continues to be the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, the NBA, and college basketball to NHL and UFC, head to BetOnline today and don't forget to use the promo code BELIEVE for your welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, the game starts here.